Yeah, alright. He's so real to me. My job is real, and I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always there. Oh, Jah, He everywhere. My job is real, and I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always there. Oh, Jah, He everywhere. So from the righteous path, I really try not to drift. Try not to be misled by illusions and myths from the Babylon. Dirty system we have to drift. Try to captivate my mind with tricks and gimmicks. Them try to send Jah dead and we know nothing no go so. Them heaven in the sky and we know. Them a tell pure lie. Yes, that's how we go. The innocent are die and the same so we go. So why in this beautiful earth they fight a war? Is it Jah position that they are fighting for? Or is it that them want with me a buckle on the shelf? A raps and Kusha play the song, you know, and nothing else. My Jah is real, and I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always there. Oh, Jah, He everywhere. My Jah is real, and I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always there. Oh, Jah, He everywhere. It's like the laws of nature, not the laws of man. And in this world I try not to be judgmental, unconditional. Love it is fundamental, the reign of Jah. Yes, it is perpetual. There is no place for the just in your society. Your empires were built on the blood of slavery. Got them trust, who them that is another story. Try to mix up the words with them funny money. True world to me that really means good health. Like the wax in front of the fire, so the wicked have come out. So on your knees, Babylon, I say bow down and repent and now. Oh, Jah, He's omnipotent. My Jah is real, I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always there. Oh, Jah, He everywhere. Laws of nature, not the laws of man. And in this world I try not to be judgmental, unconditional. Love it is fundamental, the reign of Jah. Yes, it is perpetual. There is no place for the just in your society. Your empires were built on the blood of slavery. You got them trust, who them that is another story. Try to mix up the words with them funny money. True word to me that really means good health. Like the wax in front the fire, so the wicked have come out. So on your knees, Babylon, I say bow down and repent and now. I know Jah is omnipotent. My Jah, my Jah is real, and I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always there. Oh, Jah, He everywhere. My Jah is real, and I can feel him in this air I breathe. He's always there. He's always there.
J. Will and the Raps and Kush Band, ladies and gentlemen. The album is called Love Your Life. Big tune. Jai is real. Got a dope show for y'all today, so we gotta squeeze our tune or two. You know what I mean? We gotta get into a dope conversation. It's gonna be a vibe, all right? Educational, inspirational, all them 8 L's. You know what I mean? Ja.
Yes, I love it. I do what I do, not for the money, but because I love it. Yeah, I do hope that somehow it's gonna resonate with you. Yeah, and when the going gets rough, you know I gotta muscle up and rise above it. Whoa. Cause that's what my grandmother told me the strong ones do. Verily, 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 I say unto you, don't let these great times pass you by. If at all, things don't go your way at first, give it a second try. I do what I do, not for the money, but because I love it. Yeah, I do hope that somehow it's gonna resonate with you. Yeah, and when the going gets rough, you know I gotta muscle up and rise above it. Whoa. Cause that's what my grandmother told me the strong ones do.
Lots of J5. Radio Land, thank y'all so much for the love. Appreciate you. Send me while going. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love it. Yes, I love it. I do what I do, not for the money, but because I love it. Yeah, I do hope that somehow it's gonna resonate with you. Yeah, and when the going gets rough, you know I gotta muscle up and rise above it. Whoa. Cause that's what my grandmother told me the strong ones do. Verily, 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 I say unto you, don't let these great times pass you by. If at all, things don't go your way at first, give it a second try. I do what I do, not for the money, but because I love it. Yeah, I do hope that somehow it's gonna resonate with you. Yeah, and when the going gets rough, you know I gotta muscle up and rise above it. Whoa. Cause that's what my grandmother told me the strong ones do. And I know that my downs only last for a season. I fall and I get back up, and I go and I climb to the top of the hill. It's not up to the doubters to say if I can or I can't. That is all up to me. But if they say I won't, then I show them I will. Cause I'm up, Jah lift me up, and I go where He says go, and I take whatever blessings Jah sends my way. Hey, yes, I'm up, Jah lift me up, and I will go where Jah say go, and I'ma take whatever blessings Jah sends my way. I do what I do, not for the money, but because I love it. Yeah. I do hope that somehow it's gonna resonate with you. Yeah. I wanna go and get rough, you know I gotta muscle up and rise above it. Whoa. Cause that's what my grandmother told me the strong ones do. I do what I do not for the money, but because I love it. Yeah. I do hope that somehow it's gonna resonate with you. Yeah.
It's called I Love It.
Go and get rough, you know I gotta muscle up.
Come see courtesy of yours truly, G. Cole. That's just how I feel, man.
That's what my grand.
Do a lot of these things here just because I love it.
Oh.
Instant gratification ain't there, you know. It comes when it comes.
Yeah.
But we do what we do because we love it.
I do what I do not for the money, but because I love it. Yeah. I do hope that somehow it's gonna resonate with you. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time.
Right to know, right.
Tell your friends to tell their friends.
Right to know.
Join us right here. Got a lot of everybody watching on Jamaicans.com. Thank you so much, Amy. Appreciate it. Donald Wagwan.
Some people hate you for nothing. Some say it's just a religion. Some people say if they make enough money they can escape from this prison. But if you never get your ticket to Mars, you know say you're stuck here with us all. Why you stand there looking for? You better plant the seed you are. Raise the fruit you are.
Plus disturbance, ladies and gentlemen.
Seed you are.
Plant the seed.
Plant the seed you are.
Yeah, man.
Raise the fruit you are. Plant the seed you are.
Shouts to the YouTube community.
And every choice that you make is
gonna send me abundant in more time, but it ain't like that, man.
benefits. You got to know
There's a
what
lot of technology get going, and you know,
we dying from the deer.
getting old over here, you know.
Master the energy that is my tongue.
TikTok fam,
The truth is in the crown of the heart.
I get y'all later, all right?
Say you if you're coming up short, you can find nutrition in the fruit, but the life of the plant is from the seed to the root. You plant the seed you want. Raise the fruit you are. Plant the seed you are. I tell you, plant the seed you are.
Large up Youth and G,
Raise the fruit you are.
Joanna Marie, large up.
The seed you are.
Large up Ed Robinson.
They cannot learn your lesson for you, so they cannot steal your blessing, and this you should know. The party choosing to love somehow. Don't let it get you down, 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 down. Plant the seed you are. Raise the fruit you are. Plant the seed you are. I tell you, plant the seed you are. Raise the fruit you are.
Simple as that, not true.
Plant the seed you are.
Plant the seed you want. Complain about a lot of things, and sometimes we can't rectify the problems by just doing some stuff ourselves, you know what I mean? Sometimes you can only expect the best from yourself. Doesn't mean you shouldn't expect it from nobody else, but some be that change you want to see, you know what I mean?
Some people say if they make enough money, escape from this prison. But if you never get the ticket to Mars, you know say you're stuck here with us all. Why you stand there looking, man? You better plant the seed you want. Raise the fruit you want. Plant the seed you want. You better plant the seed you want. Raise the fruit you want. You better plant the seed you want. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is what you want to say. J. Cole, legal businessman. Pen, pen, I me say this a protege, eh? Homegrown with G Cole, what you say, eh? We make them know what reggae music we a play, eh? Hey, this is Protege, the one and only representing for G Cole, you know. Check it. He's out.
And we said them not got no style like we. G Cole, them not got no style like we. None of them no wicked, no wild like we. Accurate. Kabaka Pyramid representing for the #1 selector and radio host. It's all about G Cole. Keep it locked. Accurate.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Kalia. I'm hanging out with your boy, G Cole, on the Homegrown Show.
Yes. Welcome one and all. That is Homegrown G Cole coming to the Massive Crew live across the globe. Right here on Jamaicans.com. Got to pick up everybody watching on Jamaicans.com. Lodge up the Massive Crew watching on the Homegrown G Cole platform. Got to pick up Radio Land also. Everybody, and I mean Jams fam, Super Jams Radio, West Palm Beach. Thank you all for the love. Rubber Ranks Radio UK. Thank you so much. One Harmony fam, Vibes Urban fam. Thank you so much. Live 11 Radio. Appreciate y'all listening to us. Thank you so much. Reggae Global. Thank you so much. Foundation Radio Network. Thank you so much. Viscosity Blend. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all, man. There go the rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Start off and you might miss a name or two. No, they punch. I shouldn't have done that, right? I got to big up Hot 78 Costa Rica. Everybody, thank you so very much. You know, every now and then we got to have some dope convo. Not you. Got to sit back and have some dope conversation. Diane, how are you? It's a vibe. Tell your friends to tell their friends. Hit us up on social media at my G Cole, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. What do they call it these days? Still Twitter to me. At my G Cole. I'll let you know who's gonna be in the building, what we gonna get into. All right. From my YouTube fam, thank y'all for the love. It's at Homegrown with G Cole, TikTok at Homegrown with G Cole. Everywhere else is at my G Cole. And remember, if you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, Homegrown with G Cole is available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Radio.com, YouTube, Amazon Prime, Amazon Music. Wherever you listen to a podcast, we're there. We listen to some great music. We talk to some great people. Again, always a vibe. Lodge up the massive right now, but WhatsApp fam. Lodge up my WhatsApp fam. Thank you so much for checking in. All those people again that's hit me up and say, yo, Wagwan. Thank you so much, man. I missed y'all too. Hate to put it to you like this, but I probably won't see you again for another week and change because I'm going on vacation. Don't make a big thing of it. Last time somebody told me I'm always on vacation, and that is not true. It's just that my business is in the streets. So when I'm on vacation, y'all know. You know what I mean? But guess what? I promise you, wherever I'm in the world, the show comes to you from there, right? So I will bring stuff with me, and wherever I am, I'm coming from there. Barring it's a 12-hour time difference and stuff like that. When it's, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Can't do that. But for the most part, we're going to bring you the show from wherever. I got a special guest inside of the studio with me today. Or should I say, in the virtual studio with me today. We go back, way back. You know what I mean? So I'm cut off on my thing, like my hairline, bro. Way back, you know? And she's definitely an inspiration, man. Something she probably doesn't even remember. Started this podcast in 2017. Before we went cameras and all, was the audio podcast. And not every episode of the show goes up to be released as the podcast up on Spotify and whatnot. Apple Pod and whatnot. We just put up some. So overall, we've aired and recorded probably 400 episodes. Up on Spotify and those places, we're probably at 170. Because again, like I said, not everything goes up, right, Diane? Thank you so much. I appreciate you. But she was actually episode number 4. Episode number 4 out of 178, right? And here we are again. I was enlightened then. I'm enlightened now. And it is your time to join me on this plane of enlightenment. We're going to talk about some things. She's got a brand spanking new book out, winning awards and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? You know how long Mr. Mary write a book? Book you read it? Jaja. Let alone winning awards and all that. Jaja. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for us to get into it, man. Miss Syndia A. Payne.
Hey, Ron Gregory. I didn't even remember that I was on the show before.
Episode number 4.
I did not remember that.
Yeah, man. Yep. So it's an honor to have you back. And since, folks, I got a book in my hand. You make sure you get your copy. This is the version I got. So sometime when the album comes out and you got the original, and then it goes on to sell diamond, and they put out the other edition. So the edition you guys might get is gonna be the next one with after the awards and whatnot. But mine was pre all that. You know what I mean? Syndia, welcome to the party. How you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad that we can have this conversation. Like you said, we go far back. We go way back.
Way
back. You know.
Primary school, boy.
Yes, man, was garbage class and things.
Used to keep me in line, though. Because I was wilding. I was I was wilding out.
Yeah, man. But, we go way back, man. Yeah.
Way back. And I have a book in my hand today called How I Became a Cowgirl, One Woman's Journey with the Rare Migraine Disease, right?
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit prior to the show, just, catch up a little bit on this. And I was saying to you, the whole concept of a migraine, I think is just so misused, misappropriated. Somebody gets a headache that's a little bit too, they start using terms like migraine. And I'm guilty too. The ignorance has been a part of my sphere for a long time. As I dove into the book, I started learning that, okay, I think we might be gaslighting this whole migraine thing a little bit, and the real deal is really out there. Yeah. So first of all, welcome. Congrats on this book.
Thank you so much, Gregory. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And before I even go into the book, we got to splash these things. We have to big up the things I want to know. Award just came in, right? And this, you got best autobiography or memoir, because it's more of a memoir. Personal struggle and recovery is the category, and it's awarded to you by TALA. You're a TALA winner, which is the African. Can I see this? I'm zooming.
Laureate
Awards for literary excellence. You know what I mean? Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I count that to be an accomplishment, because this book is so special to me. It's not about the awards. It just came along, right? But it's just, the advocacy of it.
I love it.
To let people know what migraine is, or the different faces of migraines, because migraines have different faces. So it's just to make people know the different faces of migraine, It's been a journey for me. It's really been a journey.
I know you're always championing a cause and something special, but guess what? We still pick up the awards. I'm like, we got to throw it out there. There's levels to this. There's levels to this. So
it was a beautiful wake up. It was humbling, but it was a humbling experience to wake up to that this morning. And the funny thing, they sent you an email first, but I saw it on Facebook first. I'm like, what? What?
So you saw it on Facebook before even reading the email?
Yes, before I read the email.
John Public know before you.
John Public know long before me, because I was having my due to rest. but I'm extremely proud of myself. And the first thing I said, my grandma passed many years ago, but I said, Grandma, I know you're proud of me. Yeah, because when my grandma died, she had all my books by her bedside. Wow. She always read, as the books came out, she read them. And I know that she'll be very proud of me, because if no one understood this migraine, in the book, I call her one of my generals on the front line. My grandmother was a general on the front line. She was a general on the front line, man.
Jano.
Yeah.
And we need that. And I always find that people with strong presence and a strong conviction, and people who are bold about their convictions, because there's a misconception that because you have a conviction, you're upfront and bold with your conviction. Sometimes it's a personal thing, you keep it in. But those people who are able and willing to step on the front lines, if you have a conversation with them long enough, you always find that there's some influence of grandma and grandpa. There's not to minimize or marginalize mom and dad's efforts, but when grandma is the general, I just saw the thing go.
Yeah, man.
I saw the thing go.
Yeah, man. And grandma was a general, man.
Grandma run this thing for you.
Yeah.
Let me go into this book. All right.
Yeah.
Again, I look at this, and the first thing I want to get into is it's a very, very easy read. A lot of times books, literature of substance, things that relate to health and any form of pain and struggle. One, it's thick, daunting. I mean, you look on it and just I wonder when me have to go sit down and read this now. And secondly, it is generally you're reading it to get through it. You're reading to it for knowledge. You're not necessarily reading it with any expectation to be entertained. It's a very nice, it's a very easy read.
Yeah.
And it's a page turner. And once I started, I could not stop. And it's not your atypical novel. You know, shoot 'em up. It might be called How I Became a Cowgirl, but it's not a Western. You know what I mean? So being what it's from. So talk to me a little bit about even coming to get to terms with yourself that, you know what, I'm about to put this book out. This is something I'm going through and people need to hear this. Talk to me.
Yeah. You know, I've been trying to write about my migraine, this journey for so long. And it seemed as if I could not get it right. And then I have never written in the second person before, right? And then I realized that when I stepped back from the writing and focused on telling the experience, that everything just started to flow. Everything just started to flow. And I wrote it in the second person because I did not want to tell the story. What I wanted was for persons to experience it, right? So every part of this migrant journey that I am going on, I wanted you to be a part of it. I wanted you to feel the paralysis, wanted you to experience the aphasia. I wanted you to work through the ADA and accommodation papers with me, you know? So, and I did not want it to be, I wanted it to be raw and real.
Right.
I didn't want no fluffing in it and to go through the words to find, go through all these words to find the real meaning. What I wanted was to just say as it is. And it's a raw book. It is what it is, you know, and I wanted it that way because the truth is that is what this journey actually is.
And I felt that raw, the term you use, the raw, it's coming from, because a lot of times in this world, especially of literature and published literature, we have the people who have the story, and then we have the actual writer. You know what I'm saying? And then we have and the publishers, and they get into. And when you read the book, the message is there and the point is there. Yeah. But when the person going through it, and I'm not sure how the behind the scenes works for you, when the person behind it is actually telling that story, the unfiltered way, you know, it's the album that you put together. It's the Bob Marley album before Chris Blackwell got it. You know what I'm saying? The raw, the scarce stuff and stuff before they polished up and put it out. You get something that you wouldn't otherwise get. And again, you're painting this picture, and I'm going on this journey, learning, but I feel like I'm right there next to you. Like I'm the friend in the room that when you're wincing in pain, I'm holding your hand. You know what I'm saying? And if you say the lights are too high, I got to turn them down myself. And that's where. So take me again into, you said this is the first time you opted to write from the perspective of the second person. Yeah. Right? Sometimes we talk in second and third person, but we don't often write from that perspective. Yeah. Right?
The second person is not easy to write from, you know. It's easier to write from the I, and it's easier to write from the third person, the he or she, right? But the second person is not something that is very easy to write from. But once I got to the fact that I am speaking to each person who is reading this, right? And I need you to feel the journey with me, right? Then it became so easy, and it began to flow. It's like just telling your story, like you said, the raw truth, and so honestly, it flowed. Like I said to you, and I've been trying to write about the migrants for years, but this one just flowed. It just flowed. Just keep flowing. And then, you know, of course, I'm a Jamaican woman, right? And my writings have always included the Jamaican broken language, what we call the patois. I always tell people, I'm a student of Louis Bennett Coverley. And I did not want that. It makes it more authentic. That there's a broken English. It makes it more authentic. But on the other hand, too, it gives you a visual of what happens for someone who has these migraines.
Right.
This
Right.
aphasia, this inability to, this repetitiveness, this
Right.
inability sometimes to put your thoughts together, this rambling, and at the same time, the level of parallelism that sometimes is OCD, because I have off migraine and where because of this disease, everything has to be in place. Because I've been looking for my glasses and it's on my head and on my face, so
Right.
everything has to be in place.
Right.
Right. And that's what I wanted to bring about. I wanted people to understand that migraine is more than just a headache. You know, because sometimes I don't feel a headache, you know.
Right.
Sometimes I don't feel any headache. But then there's this right side weakness, or my face starts. And let me say, the type of migraine we describe as having a stroke over and over again. And I don't know if you've ever seen a person having a stroke where the face just begins to
Right.
you know,
Droop.
the face drop, and the fingers crooked,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And sometimes the headache doesn't come. And when I went to the Jefferson Headache Center, I thought I had hemiplegic migraine because everything pointed to that. But one of the things that, and this is a brand new diagnosis, and that is why this advocacy is important when we talk about migraine with unilateral motor symptoms or MUMS.
Right.
Because the difference is that it lingers. You know, when you have hemiplegic migraine, the science says that it, after a while, when the headache, the phenomenon stops, that most of the symptoms stop with it. But this one lingers. You know, like in the book I said, my right side is not mine, and every time I have an attack, it takes a part of me, and my right side doesn't belong to me. I'm just holding it on for migraine. You know.
Wow.
So it's a different walk and perspective. Let me start by reading this one of migraine and misunderstanding, because you began with that, right? You said that they think migraine is just a head pain. So every day, everybody has a story and everybody can relate. And you can't blame them for you can't blame them for before migraine showed its many faces, you too had experience of these excruciating head pain. A woman once told me that labor pain faded in comparison to a migraine, but I would not know since that experience was never a part of my journey. So you understand their misunderstandings when you have to explain the many faces of migraine. And you have a barrage of experiences with misunderstandings, from the cerebral palsy to MS to I have never encountered this type of migraine. So you wear a medical bracelet to clear up some of the misunderstandings. And sometimes the misunderstandings can be dangerous and threatening. By the time the hospital believe the one migraine cocktail fits all, and the next day you're paralyzed on both sides, and you get to understand that morphine and migraines are actually allies. And it took a 5-day vacation using bedpans and walkers and canes for them to understand that misunderstanding. Or the time the preventative medication changed you and you feel like a zombie, and it's a mess, and it messes with your head and your thoughts, and 3 days stay make them realize there is an uncharacterized misunderstanding between antidepressants and migraine. And sometimes you have to explain that misunderstanding, for they don't understand how bright lights and migraines are allies. They can't understand how you have in migraine, but you're not feeling any head pain. And you're walking with body, the cane, for a couple good days, or your face start to droop and your speech become non-existent, and you're just in pain everywhere except your head. They don't understand just how complicated migraines can get. That you get up one day and all these people and places you should know, you forget. Then one day migraine can come in all its glory and take everything away, that your life is at migraine's mercy. And sometimes you have your own misunderstandings about migraine. Sometimes you don't understand because migraine changed tactics every day. And when you think you understand, you suddenly realize that what you thought you understand is just a misunderstanding. And migraine is a silent, invisible enemy that no one can see. So that they too have misunderstanding about this disease we all trying to understand.
Wow. You know, I learn so much, and it makes me think of so much when I read the book. And one thing that came to me also is the concept of fear, because a lot of times we're human beings, and when we are going through things, especially for the first time, after going through it, the struggle and the pain does give us one thing. You know, you graduate with knowledge, you graduate with understanding. and understanding that, like what you're saying now, you have to then articulate and try to educate others on. What take me to, I was on, like, when I was on the 5th page, I saw when you said you begin to worry and think to yourself, you're way too young for a stroke. At that point in time, you're looking at the optics, the physical. So this is, and you're seeing what we are taught looks like a stroke. I'm sure there's fear from that. Take me to that moment.
You know, it is one of the most, I don't fear many things, you know, but, you know, just the fear that a stroke could put me in paralyze me for the rest of my life and I lose all my independence is something that I fear. And to feel your body going, you read about strokes, right? But to feel your body experiencing it. And when you reach the hospital, it's like 10 doctors waiting to see if this is a stroke. It is heartrending. Right, you know, it is heartrending. Now, the first time it happened, I don't know. I just couldn't understand it. Like, what is going on? Why would I be having a stroke at this age? I was basically, first when I came to the United States, I was in late 20s, early 30s. Like, what is going on? What did I do? Is it a change of weather? You know, is it a change? Is it the atmosphere? And then you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, you're not having a stroke. And I always say, thank God for Dr. Kreuger, where she was the first one who diagnosed me. But here's the reality. I am 6 out of 7 on the stroke scale. Because the last migraine attack I had, and I laugh about these things, you know, because the last migraine attack I had was very bad. To the point where I don't remember half of it because I was semi-conscious. I was in a hospital for about 3 or 4 days. And so I'm always cognizant of that fact that 6 out of 7 is only one strike away.
Right. So that fear is never fully gone because it is around the corner, for lack of a better word.
I can sit it. It's sitting at the doors at your door. It's sitting at your door, you know.
Uninvited guest.
And it is not because of, and this is not because of the many things, you know, diabetes, you're not eating properly, you're smoking, you're doing that. This is because of a migraine.
Right.
You know, this is a different phenomenon. This is because of a migraine. That you are sitting on the edge of the stroke, of that stroke screening, that you're at number 6 out of 7.
Wow.
You know, you're sitting there, and you and there are two ways to deal with this. You can walk into it, because when you fear things and you start to worry, and the body start to respond, and you walk into it, and you just live. For me, I have learned to just live. I have learned to live. But I must say, it has been 4 years. I have not been to the hospital, like really have a serious migraine attack. And I give all credit to that little dog running around.
Right.
And I really give credit to the medical alert. The dogs are a beauty. You know, because he knows when it is coming, and he will let me know and tell the medication. And I give credit to, like, I've always given credit to Dr. Kreuger, because she was on this journey with me. And as you read the book, you'll realize that it was not only about the migraine, but remember, there was a grief too. You know, I'm parentless and grandparentless. So, you know, there's the grief, and any form of stress is gonna kick this. It's gonna kick it into gear. You know, migraine just sitting down waiting on stress. You know, to just come kick it into gear. And and the Jefferson Headache Center too. You know, I really give them a lot of credit. I have to give them a lot of credit, because you know, every day, and you have to understand too, you know, that it's always experimental. You know, we have to experiment to see if this medication works. So when I go 6 months to say, okay, this one seems to be working. First time I go another 6 months, I say, we're going to have to add this to it, and we're going to have to add that to it.
Right. So you are part of the experiment all through it.
Yes, man. You go back another 6 months and go, okay, we can take this away. We're going to up this, you know. But it's an experiment, you know. But one thing I also learned is that, It doesn't matter how many medications you get. It has to be a frame of mind for you as well. Has to be a frame of mind for me. I have to know. I have to live in, and I tell people, I honestly do. And people who know me, I maybe Gregory, you know this because I don't think I've changed much. I really don't care what you think about me. The problem is that it's not a
You never did. You never did.
I never cared. And I'm way too old to care anyway. If that's what you feel, that's okay. But you know, I'm sorry, you know. But if you take these things upon you, it's extra stress.
Right.
And then no, I am the only person who have to. I and the persons around will have to deal with that stress, right? Because I'm going to be the one who's going to be laying down in a hospital bed. I don't the free vacation thing. I don't particularly like free things like that. I mean, you have to pay the bill, so it's free vacation.
So really no free.
Free vacation. They get a bed, and it comes with a bed pad. No, that's okay. Not into that vacation at all.
You know, something I always feel like our approach to everything is what determines the outcome. And this is from the get-go, right? It is not the strength. It is not, you know, it's not necessarily even the planning and what. It's just the approach. And one thing that I noticed earlier on is that you thought of it as a war.
Yes, man.
And I saw you realize that you said once the neurologist came in and said that it's a migraine, you realized that the war had changed.
Yes, man. It's a war.
Talk to me about that.
It's a war, man. I look at it as a war, though. This is but it cannot be anything but a war. It's a war with many battles. This is a constant war. Like I have this one when I go to in perimenopause and migraines, where I am the casualty of that war. Right. You know, when the hormones and migraines start fighting, I'm just the casualty of that war. You know, because migraine. Let me tell you something. If migraine was a general. Margaret was a general. He couldn't lose any wars. Because it changes. The tactics changes so quickly.
Right.
It just keeps changing. It keeps changing so quickly, right? And I use a lot of war metaphor. You know, and like I said, my father and my grandmother, those were the generals on the front line, right? And I use those metaphors because that is what I feel like I am in. Like I'm in this constant war. You know, because you're there thinking, what is going on? First of all, you're in a foreign country, right? First time coming to this country.
Right.
And then this happened, and I'm like, what is going on? And then the doctor said, migraine. My who?
Especially since we already have what we think is an opinion of what a migraine really is.
Right. I mean, when I was in Jamaica too, when I was in Jamaica, and if I read that of January 1, where I did lose my memory. For 2004, I got up on one. I lost my memory for 6 months, and 6 months, and I realized that was also a part of the migraine phenomenon. So but that's a different thing. You lose your memory, okay? Some will come back, some still haven't come back, but the physical changes within your body.
Right.
That's another story totally. That's a different story when you have all these physical changes in your body. So this is a constant war, and I have learned to win some of the battles, because it's only in winning the battles you can win the war. I don't try to win every battle, because there are some battles I have no control over. I mean, I'm at that age. The hormones are going to go all the way, whatever they want to do. I can't win that battle, but whatever battles I can win, and during those times, you just sit. Some things you have to sit out. You just go, okay.
Right.
It's gonna happen, But it is actually the only way we can say it is that it's a war. And Gregory, let me, if you will allow me, I get some congratulations. Thank you. I see Lee, and thank you, thank you, Maydeen Gordon. Thank you so much. I thank you for those congratulations. Thank you. Yeah,
they are there. The supporters are out in full effect.
Yes, man, the support is there. Yes.
Jano. And of course it's reciprocation, because this in its own ways you support, because in everything you go through, everything you have to deal with, there's a community. A lot of times there's a community of unrecognized unknowns that are suffering in silence. You have a voice. You've always had a voice. You've never been afraid to use your voice. And sometimes it is that, all the time, it is that voice that will bring attention to it, and everybody else can come out and say, you know what, I might not have been thoroughly aware of what I was dealing with.
Yes.
And reading this book, or at least hearing her conversation, I know what it is. And one thing I noticed you mentioned in here, I love the metaphors. I love just the comparisons when you say how deceptive migraine is. I like
Yes,
the
man.
fact that there's personification on migraine. He ain't a good guy at all, but he
No,
alive.
no,
You know what I mean?
no. It's not your
So
friend. It's not my friend.
it's not your virgin, but him
It's
deceptive
not
and him
my
a doing
friend.
thing and him can't left.
No,
It's just
man.
dead
It's
there.
like, no, man. It's like, that uninvited guest that just cannot leave. And you're like, you just go on, man. Your time up. We don't want to see you anymore. And you just sit down there as if it's his house. It's not your place.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's my grave. Sit down as if it's his house. It's like, you're not leaving.
Not
You know?
leaving.
Not leaving at all. It just sit there. It's his place. So I'm not leaving.
I always wonder, you're an educator.
Yes.
You're an educated, highly educated woman. You're an educator. You're out in the
Yes.
working world doing what you do.
Yes.
How and being a professor, you're out there lecturing the lights, the so forth. How
Yes.
what was I shouldn't say how because it obvious is, but when this change started, what was the first and obvious
Yes.
change that you had to make when it comes to your work and how to
So
get that
and there we go to the accommodations part of it. You see, the first thing I had to do was to fight.
Right.
I have to fight. You see what I'm saying? Auntie Marjorie, Auntie Marjorie, and I go far. Auntie Marjorie, pick up Auntie Marjorie, man. Auntie Marjorie have a special place in my heart. Yeah, but the first thing I had to do is that I had to fight. Right? I had to recognize that I am protect. First thing before I started fighting, I had to educate myself. I had to know that I was protected under the ADA. That according to the symptoms I have a disability, and I had to. And my doctor made sure that a letter was written to say, hey, and once that is done, the legal part of it, you have to know the legal part of it, you have to know your rights,
right.
And then because my doctor wrote that letter now, then everything changed because everybody wants to make sure they're on the same legal page. Right. So every year I have to go through the ADA documentations. Of course, I have FMLA, of course, but I have to go through all my accommodations. And I always tell the students have 504s for their medical. I tell them I have a 504 too. So you have to go through all these accommodations. And the conversations for these accommodations, I realized that when I came to Delaware that these conversations there were conversations I had to have because you have to understand that, like you said, the misunderstanding with migraine. Why is this all these accommodations for migraine? But I learned a lot when I was in DC because DC don't play when it comes down to accommodations at all. But I learned a lot when I was there, and so I had to change the lights to lamps in my classroom, and first I started with just if they were LED lights, they were okay. Then I realized no, my doctor was like, nope, those overhead lights are not going to work. So I have lamps in my classroom, right? At college also, because I teach in person at Del State, I also have that accommodations where there are only lamps in my classroom. And then I realized now the lamps, I have to get special bulbs to go with them. So you have those, and then I have to make sure that, hey, what you see here with the glasses and the hat, I have to wear those in the building. Because even on this glasses, this is $400 walking. This $400 glasses this is more expensive than my regular glasses, and then so that is why I have. And that's how I became a cowgirl aspect came out because I love music of Dolly Parton. And so one side of my apartment is just filled with country hats. Because I believe if I'm going to dress, might as well dress in style, right?
Right. We going all out.
Of course. And so I have to be wearing. I wear these glasses like I'm with you on the computer now, so just to limit that because these are really migraine glasses, and I have the hat on, right? And of course, John Luke is in there with me as a migraine alert dog, right? But there are just days when things happen, like a smell might come up,
right?
And then we just don't know what to, So I'm learning, even though I have the accommodations in place, right? Because the thing about it, you know your rights, know the legal part, you know your rights, you speak up. It's not a secret, There's nothing. I'm not afraid to tell people my story. My life is an open book when it comes down to this illness because you have to be. You speak up. A HIPAA don't mean anything to me because I'm telling my own story. But you speak up because speaking up, that is when you get what's needed. So you speak up and you say, this is what I need, right? And of course, I'm going to not lie, but I have to have some hard conversations, right? But I had to have these conversations. So I was in a position to do my job and to do my job well. And the other thing that I've always been very transparent with the students at the beginning of the year. I tell them, I tell them, I'm gonna be walking with a cane some days. Okay. I'm gonna let you know. I can be teaching and I stutter or I don't remember what was I supposed to be saying again. And I say that to them, because it's just the truth. It's just what it is. Or I'll ask one student the same question over and over. But that is the reality. And I'm very transparent with them. And in being transparent with them, they are transparent with me too. But I let them know, as they step into my room, this is a migraine room. These are the expectations. We don't eat oranges in here, We try to come in here with the right smell. Of course, that doesn't usually happen, but we try. And so that open conversation, lights are never on in this classroom unless I'm not here. But the kids are so used to the bulbs, to the lamps, that even if I'm not there, nobody dare turn on the lights in there because they go crazy. So I had to work through all of that. I had to learn to become my own advocate. I had to learn to advocate for myself. And it's sad because when you look at the Facebook groups on migrant Facebook groups, there are many persons who just have to stop working. They have to just stop working because they're not getting, they don't know what the accommodations are that they can receive. I have teachers who said they just stopped teaching. It was just too much.
I thought of that when I was reading and seeing that you're in a classroom and know that they're going to have to be concessions made. Anytime we have conversations about health, in particular, sometimes mental health and stuff like that, a lot of times people, there'll be one person that says, do this, do that. But a lot of people don't know how to. That's one. They don't know what's available to them. But the other thing too is this: not every employer is going to be receptive and
but that's where the law comes in. But that's where the law comes in, because the minute I have a medical letter on file, that's it.
Right.
And that's why I said you have to educate yourself on educate yourself so that you can protect yourself. And because migraine is not really listed as a disability, right? And people cannot understand that you can have the migraine without all the head pain, that all this is what we call a chronic and rare disease, right? And so that is where and that is why it is important. It is very important for you to educate yourself, because once you educate yourself and you know you're right, then you know which road to take.
Gotcha.
And that is what that's what DC taught me. That's what DC.
So if you don't know your rights, it is highly likely that you're going to struggle. In other words, being in a situation where the infrastructure is provided to facilitate what you need is not necessarily out of thoughtfulness as much as it is adhering to the laws and so forth.
That's it. It's adhering to the laws, It's adhering to the laws. Big up, Leo. I'm a little cousin that, Thank you so much for the support as always. But it is adhering to the laws. But you have to know, that you have rights. Right. You have to know you have rights. It's a must. But you have to educate yourself. And it's easy, it's easy to just say, I'm just gonna keep this up. Right. I'm just gonna stop. Right? Because that's the easier part out. And to be honest, living with a chronic disease and one that is so unpredictable, and if people are in constant pain, then they cannot concentrate on anything else. They can't do their job, right? And so that is why it is very important for you to educate yourself and know your rights and do your job. Do your job. You have to do your job, And
if you don't do it, nobody gonna do it for you.
I'm a Jamaican woman raised by strong Jamaican women, so we take teeth and keep a heart bone. So we push through the pain. It's secondary to everything else. But that's the most important thing, though. That's the most important thing, and that's something, like I said, that I had to learn going through it. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Syndia A. Payne, and we're talking. She's an author, an award-winning author. She got her award Minister today. She just found out about it. We didn't know. She never know. So now she's aware. And the book is called How I Became a Cowgirl: One Woman's Journey with a Rare Migraine Disease. Now, let's talk about the aesthetics, right? Because
Yeah.
you are doing what you have to do to accommodate the scenario so that you can function. Literally, not being able to function if the lights are too bright on you. So the hat it's not just cosmetic. It's pretty much there to, mitigate that. And then we have the glasses and stuff like that. It's the armor, because again, a war with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we got to go do it. Talk to me a little bit about that aesthetic change now. So now you decide, okay, I got to make these changes. And the new, the new Syndia come out dressed in her Superman outfit or Superwoman outfit and talk to me.
Yeah, man. So I started to wear peaks first, and I'm like, yeah, this don't look professional.
Right.
It don't go with the shirt, and it doesn't go with the outfit.
Right.
And like I said, I love country music, And I started out with, I remember that one country hat I had that I bought at Cracker Barrel. That was the first country hat I bought. I'm like, wow. I'm like, no, man. But this broad country hat don't go with everything. Because regardless, you still have to live, and you have to live good. Right? Yes. So while you're fighting this war with migraine, you have to let migraine know that, listen, there are changes that I have to make in my life, but I am going to make those changes on my terms. And I'm going to look good while I'm making these changes.
Right.
See?
Right.
That's what I did. And so I built up a whole, like I said, one whole wall of hats.
Right.
Because I need every outfit to go with every outfit.
Right. We still got to be fly. Yeah,
yes, man. You cannot go into work looking like I don't know what to say. I wasn't trained that way. I must always look like a professional, right? But then, at first it was difficult. Let me be honest with you. When this first happened and when it started in DC, it was difficult, right? It was difficult because one of the things about it is that loss of independence. It was difficult, right? But then, as I continue, as you fight a war, you're supposed to understand it more in order to, if you cannot win all the battles, but at least win some of them.
Right.
And so I realized that I had to make some decisions. The first thing I have to do is to accept the fact that this is part of my life. And because this is part of my life, I am going to make the best of it. Right? I'm going to make the best of it. So I used to wear the cheap glasses first, the 100 and the 200. Those did not work at all. The $400 glasses work. Well, you look at the pros and the cons, the cost benefit. The $400 glasses is going to keep you in school, keep you at work, so you don't lose pay. And it doesn't matter because, like I said, migraine run an extortion. It run an extortion. Yeah, man, migraine extort my pay every year.
The migraine mob.
It's an extortion scheme it run. Yes, man. My 10 days over and then I have to start. Because I'm not going to work sick. That's one thing either. One thing I'm not doing if I'm very sick, I'm not going because I have to take care of myself first, right? But the change, I learned to accept this change and I learned to love myself more, and I learned because I really don't care what John Paul or John Jr. has to say. I made sure, I put myself, these aesthetics that you talk about, these armors, I wear them with pride and I wear them in style.
Right.
The most important thing is to wear them in style.
I dig it. I always feel like it's the day of change, because it's no different from going to school and you're coming with a new hairstyle one day or whatever. You're conscious. Okay, what am I gonna say? How does it look? You know what I mean?
Yes.
The comments that are coming your way. And as we talk about wars and we talk about dealing with the things, even that, as simple as it is, could be considered another war to win too. Within yourself, you know what I mean? The comfort, that confidence of knowing that, this is an armor and I'm going to expect some stares. It's not that it's not fly, but the stares that are going to come at you is because they're not accustomed to seeing you with this new style.
Yeah. And then now people become accustomed to it. And I remember I was walking in the hallway and I do not know this man. And he said to me, I just wait to see what you're wearing every day.
The cowgirls in the building, what's coming through?
yes. I see my little brother there. I think that is Andre saying, proud of you, big sis. I am. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. But you have to do what you have to do. You have to do what you have to do, and that's what I want people to understand. Living with a chronic illness, you have to do what you have to do. You have to understand. You have to understand that you're going to be a fluffy diva. It is what it is. I mean, that's in style anyway. Whereas it is in style, that's where you're gonna be. You see? Because it's not like you don't want to do the exercise. It's just that you walk a mile and two today, and tomorrow I suggest you go to bed.
Right.
Because that's just the reality of your life. You have to accept these things. You have to understand that I'm sorry, I will not be able to show up. I can't show up.
Do you think that's the biggest struggle in it for most folks, though? And not just when it comes to migraines, but in general, is the accepting that, not necessarily accepting what people see and what people think and judgment, but accepting that my life has just, I've turned a corner, and this is a new page of my life, but it is indeed and in fact my life.
Yes, I think and it was not easy for me either, right? You see, but what you have to understand, but that is where. And that is where people just and depression comes. Many persons with chronic illness do have depression, right? And that is where I think that is where part of it comes, where you have to understand that you're living a perfectly well life, You're okay, you're good, and then bam, and then things start to change. But then you have to learn to accept it, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but you have to learn to accept, because guess what? The only thing we can do with life is live it. The only thing we can die. I have a poem that says, "We live once, but we die many times."
Wow.
Yeah. And part of getting a chronic illness, yes, that's a part of dying. But you can be, but like Annie John and the rain, you have to rise up with that redemption.
Wow.
That's what you have to do. You have to do it. And I keep telling people, I say I walk around here like I don't have a chronic illness. Because you see me today, like in the novel, in the memoir, I said, like today I'm walking like Maya Angelou, like I got gold between my thighs, and tomorrow it's me and Buddy. I've been through, and it's me and Buddy have been through. I'm like, oh God, and people stare, they're like, it's like, well, that's all we can do today. It's gonna be Buddy
Tuesday.
Today. It's what it is. I'm still here, but it's gonna be me and Buddy today. And that is what you get to understand. You get to understand. You can't, like I said, like in the memoir, say every pot cover that knock, you cannot go. You can't go every pot cover that knock anyway, right? And the good Lord have to understand that church is going to be from my bed,
right?
And church was good until the bright lights and migraines got in the spirit. Sometimes when you get in the spirit, you lick down the wrong person. I got hit down in that.
In the mighty name of Jesus.
Yes, man. The good Lord has to understand that it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But as you say, it's real. It is real. Right. And that is why, I'm hoping that when you read my journey, like I say, it's resilience and recovery. It's not staying down.
Right.
Because I can't say it. Life gotta be life. I gotta just keep living, right? But some days are hard. Yeah. And I want to talk about. Let me hear your question before I talk.
No, I just have to hold the book up because I tell you this again. It is a journey. When you associate certain things, right? You think about migraine. Again, I'm just going off of the cover, right? You talk about rare, you talk about migraine, you talk about a woman's journey, you talk about disease. It sounds like, okay, it's going to be a hard read. But when I tell you, it is such an inspiring book. When I smiled reading this book is when I got to the page also. I mean, many times throughout, but when you mention that when you pull up to the spa or you pull up to different places and people know, okay, the cowgirl's coming in, and they refer to you as such, and they're accommodating you, because again, day one, when you're going through this and you're starting to change aesthetically, you're worried about what's going to happen, and sometimes we have to give people grace and realize that the world is better than we think it is in terms of people accepting what's going on and knowing, listen, we're all different. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, talk to me. Go ahead. I just wanted to mention that. Go ahead.
Yeah, this one, of migraines and ambition. Now that you hear it, it has a ring to it, Dr. Payne. And when your college students accidentally use this title, or it appears on a card from church in the mail, it makes you stop to reconsider. If you're sure you don't want to make if I sure I don't want to make my dear departed uncle spirit happy by following in his footsteps. And sometimes you would use Dr. Google or Dr. AI to do a search of interest. Sometimes you weigh the cost and benefit. And when you begin to think the benefit outweigh the cost, in those moments, you hear your daddy's voice again. Syndia, you have to stop now. Daddy was never one to get in the way of his children's ambition. He was a staunch advocate for higher education, and he worked like a mule to give you the best education. For him, that was his gift to his children, his investment, and he would always say he wants nothing in return. He never expects any of us to take care of him, just to take care of us. So you can imagine the confusion when you hear him utter these words. Syndia, you have to stop now. Daddy worked at sea all his life. So when the 337 area code flashed across your phone, you know it was your weekly call. And this week was special because you had just attained your master's in educational leadership with a 4.0 GPA. Excitement fill you up to your bosom and overflowing with joy, and your conversation always start the same. Daddy, you could still hear him laughter. I can still hear him laughter now. How you know it's me? Pleasantries put aside. You tell him of this new accomplishment, and you can still hear his laughter filled with pride. Then, just as quickly as the sea can change its tide, Daddy's tone subside into a seriousness you only hear when something very serious happens. I am proud of you, Syndia. You have to stop now. And for a while, you're disappointed. Then you remember 2004 that you will talk about later, and you still understand as you did right there and then. Your father, who feared nothing, feared migraine, for he witnessed firsthand how he almost lose you. And he was willing to sign the peace treaty for safety. And it was in that moment you realized even more that even in his physical presence, his overwhelming love for you. And you don't believe in defeat, but you don't fight losing battles. So you lay down ambition at migraine feet. For what does it profit a woman to lose her health for a title before her name? And in truth and in fact, if they only call me Payne, I am good and satisfied wearing only my daddy's name.
You know, Cynthia, I had that last part of that paragraph highlighted because I needed to ask you about that. And in truth and in fact, if they only call me Payne, I am good and satisfied wearing only my daddy's name. I intended to ask you about that because, you know, we need to always dive into our sources of strength. Where do we pull our strength from? And it is evident and painfully obvious the impact your father had on you and continues to have on you. How satisfying and gratifying is it for you, knowing that you are making him proud, even though you stopped at the academia? I mean, you stopping where most people will never reach anyway. So I'll just put it that I'll just put it that way. But knowing that he'd be mighty proud of you, and you, of course, in turn, just proud to bear that Payne last name.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, my father himself had migraines, you know, and so, you know, daddy would have, you know, when he brought his children out, he was our chef, you know. I remember he brought us to Burger King and we were big people and he's ordered the food and everybody looking at each other and said, what's going on here? You know, because he knew what migraine could do. But my father was the best man ever. I tell people that I had the best father ever, you know.
Right.
And like I said, daddy, my father showed up. I remember I was the valedictorian at ComC. And while I was up there doing the valedictorian speech, I looked down, there's daddy coming up the hill. You know, so, he showed up, and he showed up at my year graduation too. My father told me he was proud of me.
Right.
You know, and every time I spoke to him, you could hear it in his voice. You know, and when he died, my older brother, when they went through his wallet, he still had in his wallet, he had a graduation picture of a graduation picture of me still in his wallet.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So yes, he had that picture. Apparently he brought that picture everywhere he went. But my father, he was proud of me, and that feels good. It makes me feel good. And I wanted to read this because regardless of the fact that Dad has been dead for about maybe 4 or 5, should be 5 or so years now. Father's Day is still the hardest day of my life. You
Right,
know,
right, right.
because I don't know about anybody else, but I can say I had a very good father.
Right.
And I watched him and my grandmother in 2004 when I got sick. And I've never seen my grandmother so worried. But I watched him and my grandmother, fighting for me. And it's one thing when you lose your child to death, but to lose your child to life, to an illness
Right.
is a different, you
Wow.
know.
Yeah.
It's just totally different. And I am a proud Payne, and I will say
Mm,
that any day. And I am
mm.
proud, like I said, to always wear my father's name because he was a soldier for me. He was a general for me on the front line. And as much as I am proud to be his daughter,
Mhm.
I know he was proud to be my father.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Again, resilience. We talk about resilience, talk about strength. And, I have to pull from this and dissect from this stuff that I have to, put on the folks out there too, which is make sure you're there for yours
Yes,
too,
man.
because the good thing about you guys is that you guys had the communication. He knew you were proud of him. You knew he was proud of
Yeah, man.
you. But the thing is, a lot of times we are here, we are proud of our children or our parents or whatever, but we never articulate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
never do
that's
say it.
true. Yeah.
And sometimes people go through struggles trying to one gain your pride or something else,
Yeah.
and you already have it there, but we're just especially as a culture, not just black folks but Caribbean folks, and in particular Jamaican folks, right? Not the
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
sensitive, not the most
Hmm.
sentimental, but it is those words, of course the actions, but those words from way back that you still carry with you right now,
Yeah,
that even
man.
helps
Yeah.
you to overcome these hurdles right now. And so big up pops for that, big up grandma for that, and I'm
Yeah, man.
sure
He was a good
many other family
man.
members too.
That's the thing, man. Yeah, man. He's a good man. Anybody know my father say your father was a good man.
Ja, 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 ja. We need
My
more
father
like
was
that.
a good man, man. He was the best of his breed. I'll put it that
Jano,
way.
Jano.
Yeah,
And
he
that's
was a good
beautiful.
man.
I really enjoy hearing that because too often the narrative goes the other way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And what I
That's
do
real.
love again is the book is titled How I Became a Cowgirl,
Yeah.
A One Woman's Journey with Rare Migraines Disease. But the book is not just about that. I see the book it talks about love. It talks about your father. It talks
Yes.
about grandma. It talks about all the things that a lot of us have in our lives and do take for granted sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not just about the pain. Even in going through the pain, you take the moments to celebrate those people,
Yes, man.
and
Yeah,
that's
you have to
something that I
celebrate
have
them
to
now.
give props for.
Yeah, man, you have to celebrate them. I have to celebrate them. I have to celebrate my grandmother and my father. I have to celebrate them. I also have to celebrate. I have to celebrate Aunt Marcia too. Aunt Marcia was so adamant before she died that I should get a dog. She would every single day. Did you get the dog? Did you get the dog? Did you get the dog? And I think she knew. I think that was her gift to me, knowing that she wouldn't be around. You know, and it's
Gotcha,
a
gotcha.
beautiful gift, and I'm so forever grateful for that. And I have to celebrate. I have to celebrate my mother too, because I remember, and I didn't put this in the memoir, but I remember one time, my mother lived all the way in New York, and I was in Maryland, and I was having an attack, and I was alone at home, and she was the one who called the ambulance.
Right.
She called the ambulance, and the nurses, in between, the nurses, because I had to stay over. Usually when I go to the hospital, I have to stay, because they
Right.
have to make sure it's not a stroke, and I have to stay over maybe. And they don't let me out. Nowadays they have a new thing, they're not letting you out unless you can walk. So I fake it till I can make it, because I'm not staying there. After a while, this vacation is not something I enjoy. And the nurse said to me, your mother called every hour.
Wow. Wow.
Every hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big up moms.
But grandma, funny enough, when grandma always said, remember, she was so worried about the migraines. But, that 2004 journey with them was very difficult. You just get up one day, you don't remember anybody, and you realize it was all a part of the migraine phenomenon. So you celebrate those persons because they are your strength,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
they
Right.
remain your strength. You celebrate them. Our
Wow.
ancestors never leave us. They
Mm.
are with us. So you celebrate them. Thank you, Rose. Thank you so much, Rose.
Big up yourself, Rose.
Let me just stop to say, Rose Douglas McLean is one of my soldiers.
Wow.
one
Big
of
up,
my
Rose.
generals as well. Because
Big up.
when I was in DC, I'm telling you, when I was in DC, man, I'm telling you, those hospital visits, Rose was there every second. And that's what you have to do too. You have to build a community around you.
Yeah.
You have to build a community around
The
you.
village has to be
You have to build
established.
a village around you. You know, like right now I have my cousin Sandy and my brother Don. And if anything happened, they have to be the one to run to school to get me. You know, if I can't drive, right? If it's 2 months and I cannot drive, they have to run to school to get me. And I'm grateful for these people because and that was you talk about the hard part of it, knowing that you have to depend on others. That's difficult. That's very difficult. That's very, very good. G-code, that's difficult. But then you learn once people start showing up and they keep showing up and they keep showing up, right? You know these are the people you can depend on. So that village is important. And then you know, they never get tired. Sometimes I hide it, you know. Sometimes I hide it. I might be going, I hide it, but they always see it. And so I'm grateful for that. Yeah,
talk about the village and you mentioned sometimes feeling like you are the burden, feeling like you're inconvenienced. But at the end of the day, how inspirational is it to turn around and look at it and realize that you're the only person that feels that way? Because they're not feeling that way. They're there for you.
No, they don't. They don't.
You know what I mean?
They don't at all. They don't. And it's good to know, that support, that they don't feel that way. You know, it's good to know they don't feel that way. So, yeah, I mean, on this journey, and this journey continues, because as I get older, it gets more complicated, you know. That a woman's body changes so much. And I was very, when I went back and I read of migraine and perimenopause, I'm like, did you write all of that? Well, it is what it is. That's the truth. That one is
transparency.
Raw, that's the truth.
And it's not just transparency with the audience and the readers, but it is, to me, once you are at the point where you can do that, then you're transparent with yourself too. Because I think a lot of times we put way much more effort in being in denial to ourselves and lying to ourselves than we do put into lying to others. So if you find somebody that's lying to the masses, you best believe that they've worked even harder to lie to themselves, and that in itself is detrimental. It's dangerous.
Yes, and that stops the journey. That stops you one place, right? And when I wrote a perimenopause and migraine, I looked back at it and I said, but here are two topics that are so that are so underrepresented, right? Here are that need education, right? Because perimenopause is serious, and people talk about menopause, but that journey to there, it's as serious as menopause. And when you mix that in with migraine, those hormones, I'm telling you, it's that you just have no control. Things are just happening to your body. Like I always say, I feel like aliens. I use the Star Trek thing a lot too, where I feel like the Borg has just infiltrated my body, and I just sit there and don't know what to do. I just have to go with it, But it's all a part of the journey, right? And that is why, I tell you, like I said, the award is good, and I feel good knowing I'm award. I'm no longer a writer.
You're an award-winning author. I'll say it myself. And guess what now? When you say them things that you can't say it in the regular accent, you got to put a little British on it and make it sound a little distinguished and put on some bifocals. I don't got none of that, but you know what I mean? You say award-winning, you got to say it like this because you are an award-winning author. And I think the thing I love about this book is I think it's empowerment. I think it's strengthening for those people because human nature is to feel like you're on every journey on your own, and everything that you're going through, you're the only person going through. Yes, we have our idiosyncrasies, but we are all humans and we're all treading this path. So anything you're going through, somebody has, somebody is, and somebody will. And I think, imagine if you read a book like this and then you have to start these struggles, I think you'll be way more empowered and prepared for it. So thank you on behalf of the masses. Thank you so much for this.
And thank you. Though it's good to be back. It's good to be back on your show. Like I said, I was on this. He said I was the 4th episode. I'm like, what
episode 4 of 178.
Man, 4. In those early days.
Early days.
Yes. And let me tell you something, G Code. I am proud of you, brother.
Oh, thank you so much.
Let
I
me just
appreciate
say,
it.
I am proud of you, my brother. You know,
Thank you very
I am
much.
very proud of you because you are dedicated to your art,
Thank you.
and you have really, honestly, you take this thing and you make it something special. So
Appreciate you.
I am proud of you because if I was four of 174, I knew when you started.
Yep. 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 And
I
and
knew
and it's
when you
funny.
started.
I was back when we're doing it because a lot of the times I speak to artists, entertainers, a whole bunch of people,
Yeah.
and I have to remind people. I say, listen, the podcast wasn't built on that. Episode 1 was mental health,
Yes.
and that's where we are. And I just feel like it's very important to have. I feel like whenever I have some idle conversations, I mean, if you redeem myself from the idle conversations, I'm never gonna call you. So no, no, have a beneficial, substantial conversation. After me talk to some artists who are really reckless, I'm like, nah, I gotta call Syndia. We gotta talk about stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
No, it's
Jano,
good.
when I say
It's good to be back, man.
it's
Yeah.
and the pleasure is all mine. I'm
Yeah.
paraphrasing here, but you made mention of something in here. It's
Yeah.
like you were saying you were handed down the last time. You're handed down a lot of things from the king, which is your pops, but you also feel like you were handed down the migraines too, right?
Yeah, my father's
And
legacy.
your father's
Yeah, my
legacy,
father's legacy. That I'm the crown
right?
princess where I'm the crown princess. Yes.
Yep.
My father's legacy.
So and I just
Yeah.
loved that approach because it is not it's not one of I'm upset. It's one of of novelty. It's one of just laughing as a pops because we do that all when we have had
Yeah.
deep relationships, not just deep relationships, but fun and good relationships. Because sometimes you have some
Yeah.
relationships with some folks and it is very formal. You love them, you respect them, but it's very formal. There's no joviality in it. But just to be able to think about it and look up and say, pops, say, how you do? You know what I mean?
Yes. that live now. This is the wealth my father has left me. You take it up and you say, "Wow, I mean, you're the crown princess of all your child's children. You're the crown princess. You got it. You got to carry on the legacy, And in his own way, he did his advocacy in his own way through us, right? And and it's part of me accepting that this is part of my life.
Right.
It's part of me accepting that this is part of my life. Because unless you start accepting that things are part of your life, then you don't know. I don't believe in getting over anything. And like I said, I told that grief and I are old friends. I always say that.
Right.
Because you have to learn to walk with it. That's the only way you're going to survive. You cannot try getting over. You have to learn to walk with it. And so accepting the fact that this is my father's legacy is my way of saying, hey, this is part of my life. Right. This is part of my journey. I mean, it's over. I've had this for over 20 years now. It's over 20 decades, 2 decades I've had this now.
Right.
But it's part of my life. It is part of my journey. There are days when I'm gonna have to just lay in bed. It is what it is.
How long did it take you to come to this point though? Because a lot of times we get there. Is there an epiphany? Is how long do you think it takes for you or you in particular to get from this is something I'm dealing with to this is a part of my life?
It took a while, It took a while. It took a while for me to do that. I remember after my mother died, my neurologist said to me, your migraines are going to get worse. She said it, She said, because she said you don't slow down and you don't talk, right. But your migraines are going to get worse, But and they got worse after my grandmother died. They got worse after, And I remember I was at work one day, and she might have been a psychologist at school. I don't remember well. And she said to me, sometimes we keep asking God. We keep asking God for things, not knowing that sometimes he brings things to slow us down.
Wow.
Yeah, Thank you so much, Sherilyn. Right? Sherilyn and I are coming from, you see, like how you and I are coming from way back. Sherilyn and I have been best friends since St. Hilda's days.
Man, big up Sherilyn, large up yourself.
Thank you so much, man. And Sherilyn is my sister, and pause to say that, and when people you give people their roses, right?
Yeah.
When my grandmother died, and I was outside because I stood outside. Charlene had a chair sitting behind me. Outside, I don't know if she knew that. I remember that. But these
Right.
are the people who showed up. Yeah, but back to what I was saying. No, it
Village.
took it. Yeah, man. It took a long time.
Mhm.
It took a long time because in the early days I started to write in poems and I started to write. I redefined myself. But it took a while for me to actually reach that point to say this is part of who I am. It was a fight. It was an internal battle. But then you realize you can't be fighting on two fronts.
Right.
I cannot be fighting within myself and I can't fight in the migraines at the same time.
Right.
So I have to come to the fact that this is who I am now. This is who I am now. This is what
Right.
my life is going to be. And I think the minute I began doing that, actually the the attacks were not as much because I think part of it was the stress that I was putting on myself.
Mhm.
I was putting on myself because I don't want to depend on anybody, right? I don't want this to define me,
Mhm.
right? And that's a struggle I had. But then I realized it doesn't define me. It is just part of who I am.
I got you.
Doesn't define me at all. I define it, but it's part of who I am. And I have to understand that this is who I am. It's not easy wanting to go out or wanting to eat. Oh, I want to go this place. This I can't go there. I'm sorry.
Right.
I can't. I just can't. I can't. Yeah. And it becomes easier for me now to say no or to say, oh my, I can't do it. Okay. It becomes much easier for me to do it now. Right. And I said when I accommodations, I don't want to be special where you walk into the auditorium and the light is turned off. But then I go, oh my,
We're gonna need
it is
that.
what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. What am I? It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. And like you said, that if it is that when persons are living with these chronic illnesses, if you don't come to that realization that this illness does not define you, but you define it as part of you, then it's going to be the journey is going to be more tumultuous. It's going to be a harder journey. It's going to be a very hard journey. Yeah. So it took
From
a
a
lot
clinical standpoint, though, is there from a clinical standpoint, is there any such thing as cure end to it all, or is it something that you have to be prepared to live with for the rest of your life?
You know, every day, like I said, this new diagnosis and let me say that migraine with unilateral motor symptoms have not even been identified as a diagnosis, right? Because they just still put it under hemiplegic migraine, right? But places like Jefferson Headache Center that continues and Dr. Young that continues to do this study and differentiate, because if you don't differentiate between it, then you will not be able to treat it.
Yeah.
I cannot. I have been on practically all the migraine medications you can think about, right? But then no, or the treatments they have for migraine. But then no, the fact that have migraine medication specifically for migraine is saying that we are moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Like most rare diseases, it may take a time to cure, but at least we're not giving antidepressants anymore as preventative. Now we're giving migraine medication for preventative, right? That took clinical study that, it study continue, right? Now we're finding that both help some people, may not help everybody, but it helps some people, right? I mean, people take the daily medication. I take the injection once a month.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But then at least we know that it is giving us a better quality of life. And we know we're moving towards perhaps one day there may be a cure. But for now, there has to be understanding, because what they're finding is that one medication cannot fit all. Excuse me. There's vestibular migraine, there's stomach migraine, there's hemiplegic migraine, and then hemiplegic migraine has two different types of migraines. There's ocular migraines. There's so many different types, right? So now
I had no idea.
Find the medication. Yes, man. Yes, so
I had
now
no
we have
idea.
to find the medication Yeah, we have to find the medication now. So the research continues. And the research continues, but that can only continue if the advocacy continue for there to be education about it. Right. So maybe one day in the future, I think we're nearer to giving people a better quality of life.
Right.
I think that's
which is
where we are.
ultimately the goal in many things is just, you know, again, a better, comfortable quality of life.
Yes.
You know, and regarding the advocacy, because you are big on advocacy and
Yes.
standing up for, you know, beliefs, rights, what is
Yes.
necessary, leading the front line for that. Do you have a lot of other people who are on the front lines with you? I mean,
Yes.
you know, championing this cause with you and knowing that, you know what, it's like the band on stage. I look to my right, I look to my left. It's not a solo joint. You know what I mean? I got the efforts out there. Are you championing this cause solo, or do you have a lot of other people out there that are now on that advocacy mission with you?
So what I realize is that, you know, especially when I'm in those groups, I try to be in those groups as much as possible, is that these are the groups that are moving for advocacy, right? But then you have Migraine Foundation, you have Miles for Migraines, right? You have persons who are on Capitol Hill talking, trying to get migraine to be, and I heard there was a bill out. We're hoping that bill become introduced to Parliament. But we have these people who are out there. We have those persons who are out there trying to get us. So the advocacy is wide. You know, we do what we have to do in our little corner. This is my way of advocating, right? I've started a series on my LinkedIn page. I wrote one already, and I'm putting another one by the end of this week. But my greatest area is the accommodations at work. I want people to know you can still be able to work.
Right.
You know, I want people to know you can still be able to work if you know your rights and if you educate yourself on it. You know, we don't want to lose a good teacher from the classroom because of migraines.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, you know, there are times, you know, and my little brother, my little sister would say it's time to give it up. It's not working out. It's just not compatible. And there are times when I think about, you know, perhaps I should sit at home and do it and do something. I mean, I could get more pay with, but that's not the quality of life I want.
Right.
You know, I love
right.
teaching. I've just completed my 25th year of teaching. I love teaching. Right? I want to go out there and I want to see the joy in those kids' face. Yes, I want to tussle and bustle with some of them, but that is what I want to do. And so therefore, as a result of that, I want to make sure that the quality of life I want to live, right, in being a teacher, that I have these accommodations that I need. And I want educators to understand that too. You know, that you don't have to give it up. You know, we don't want you to give it up. So, but the advocacy is a lot. And then this month is migraine and headache awareness month. So this is one of the months where the advocacy is. Yeah, that's why I'm in my purple. Yeah,
mad.
Yeah, but this is one of the months where the advocacy is pushing and pushing and pushing. But the more like you and I have a conversation about it, somebody, you know, one or two persons listening. It doesn't have to be a 400 or 500 people listening. It's just one or two it takes.
Right.
And then somebody else will talk about it. You know, so that's one of the reasons I wrote this book, you know. It wasn't I wrote the book to tell my journey, you know. But I also wrote the book to tell the journey tell a migraine journey, to say that there are other, and to make other people know that there are other persons out there are other persons out there who are maybe worse than I am. You know?
Yeah. And yes, it's you know, June is migraine and headache awareness month. I got a bunch of Geminis in my life. It explains that. Because they are a headache. I'll tell you that much. I love them. But, they are a headache.
That's a new spin on it.
I'm just saying it kind of works. It kind of
this one, no man.
Oh Lord, and because I'm talking with you, it legitimizes that. So I'll just edit this up and make it sound like you said and not me, but we can do that in the post production end. And my wife's a Gemini, so you know what I mean. That's what I think. But you know, it's again, Jano. I want what I want people to realize is this again, and I'll personalize it from me. Normally, I get a lot of literature. A lot of folks put stuff out and they are speaking from a personal perspective, and people want to be heard and whatnot, not. But they're not all an easy read. I have a shelf of books that I'm trying to figure out. Okay, how do I get to this one? How do I, and I start reading, and 3 pages in, I gotta go listen to some Bob. I gotta listen to some. You know what I mean? This is, if I didn't know, it could come across as a wonderfully written novel. You know what I mean? It could come across as more fiction and entertainment, just based on the level of energy and joy and fun in a situation that's talking about migraine. It is a page turner. Imagine me picking up my Hardy Boys book like when I was in primary school, and page. It's the same vibe. It's the same vibe. Page turner, but there's so much conviction in here, so much knowledge, so much education, and more than anything else, so much strength. Because I think that when somebody puts this book down, they're going to be a little bit stronger than before they picked it up.
Brother. Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's what I hope, brother. That's what I hope. That's what I hope. That's what I really
Hey, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's doing what it's doing. Now, how I became a cowgirl. I'm going back to that because this is a dope title, right? You're coming from Maryland in that area, and now you're rocking the gear, and you're in what would be considered a more country setting.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Did the country setting inspire the aesthetics, or did you already have the aesthetics and decide, you know what, this is more fitting over there? Talk to me a little bit about even that journey.
Well, it's just the country music that everything, you know.
Oh, so the music.
I love me some Auntie Dolly.
Big up yourself, Dolly.
You know, everybody knows when I have a migraine, because when I have a migraine, my room is quiet.
Right.
But if not, you hear country music from way down the hall. You gotta get some music, it's a noisy, you know. But it's mostly the country music that it. I think being country, and I remember, I grew up the old country way. You know, I grew up with my grandmother and her 2 sisters and her mother, and I actually knew my great grandmother and everything. So I grew up the country, but it's not only it is what it represents. It's it's that thing about family and strength and values and principles that whole cowgirl thing represents. Wow. It's what it actually. It's not a style, you know. It's a way of life.
Right, I love it,
and that's what that's what it represents. But yeah, down here is really country, you know. So it's really country. It's more country.
So you thought about getting a horse yet? That's full out the whole thing, and you know something. I'm going, oh,
yeah. I've had some small ones.
A pony.
some little ones that, you know, some little small ones, you know, some figurine ones, you know. Right. I got those little figurine horses already.
Jano.
Yeah, but I mean,
you know, as we talk about this book here, you know, and even drawing from our first conversation and the closeness with your family and the strength that you got from being young till now, it's almost like without knowing it, you were being prepared for any hurt, any struggle, any pain that was going to come. Sometimes we don't know what we're preparing for. We don't know the tests that we're studying for.
True. Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't know what we lift with because we got something to lift later on. But it seems to me like from great grandma to grandma to pops, moms, everybody around you were preparing you. They may not have known what the struggle was going to be.
Yeah.
But there was a struggle around the corner and they prepared you for it. So there's no folding. You know what I mean? We go back to the country, you know, we got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it seems like you were being prepared for this.
Yes. And I have to talk about my Aunt Maxine, you know, because, you know, my Auntie Maxine, and you know, she's the youngest of my grandmother's children. So we kind of become like sisters sometimes, but, you know, they weren't all there to prepare me, you know, I'm a strong black Jamaican woman because I was raised by a strong black Jamaican woman. That's just the truth of it. Right. You know, that's just the truth of it. My grandmother stopped her education at 14. But let me tell you something, man. She made sure all her kids and those who are under her roof and grandkids that they had to be educated.
Wow.
It was education in one hand and salvation in the other.
Wow.
You know, and that and like I said, my father was an advocate. He stopped early too, but he was an advocate for education. you know. So these persons prepare us for what is to come.
Right.
They do. You know, you that do, because if anybody had told me that I would be I lost I'd be, my mommy has been dead for about 13 or so years now. If anybody told me that that was going to be the case, I'd have told them no, right? But like you said, you're prepared for that. And grief and migraines are allies. They are best of friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
And
you
I'll
know,
send you
grief,
down some paths that you don't want to be either, but you know, we end
yeah,
up
man,
there.
grief, yeah, man, grief and migraines are best of friends. You know, they they really like each other. You know, but
and them
because
don't
of
like you.
how,
None of them don't like you.
no, they don't. Actually, they don't. They simply don't. You know, but because of how you were raised, and because of how you were raised, you know, you keep going on.
Wow.
You know, you keep going on. You have to. I mean, what else are you going to do? You know.
Yeah.
Like I always tell my kids, like, it is hard. I said, life is hard. What do? You keep living.
Yeah. So the
You know,
alternative.
it's not easy. I'm glad you realize life is hard. It's not. You see? But you gotta keep pushing through. So they were instrumental, and instrumental in really honestly honing me into the person I am today. And because of those values and principles that I received, I'm able to deal with this situation.
Right.
I'm able to travel this journey, you know. And I said it in the book, you know, I really honestly, you know, the broken language. And as I was saying to you before, that the broken language is not just acknowledging and being proud of my Jamaican heritage, but that broken language too. And sometimes it sounds confusing. That's what migraine is. That's how I sound. That's how I can sound. Yeah. So that's
I
what
dig it.
makes it raw and real. It's what makes it raw and real. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
dig it. I must say, again, I enjoy reading it. If I told you to shoot, if I told you yesterday that I was going to enjoy reading a book about migraine, you know, it just wouldn't be that. But I really enjoyed the read.
Yeah.
You know, and again, going back to preparing, because you're teaching lessons in so many different ways. Teaching it to those who are your elders too, in terms of preparing their children, grandchildren for what's to come. If they haven't already started, it is not too late to do so. But when we think about preparation, even pushing you down the path of making sure you know the importance of education, because where I see that took you also is making sure you knew the necessary reasons to go educate yourself on migraines. Because a lot of time the people who are going through the struggle and not making any progress is because they are uneducated about the migraines or whatever the things that they're going through. But you being somebody who is, you know, already positioned and you've cultivated that whole education. Let me get more and more knowledge. It puts you in that, you know, position to say, you know what, let me also go get some knowledge, not just to get the doctorate on my name, but to educate myself on how I'm going to deal with this pain.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah, and like I said, you have to, you know, you cannot wait on TikTok and Instagram to educate you. You know, you got to read. Yeah, reading is essential. You have to exercise your right to read.
Right.
You have to exercise the right to read. You have to know the facts. You have to know what you need, what your rights are. You must know that. You have to know the journey. And that's a total journey. Going through ADA papers and FMLA papers every year, you know, it's not like you do it one time and then, you know, you have to do it every year, you know. Every year it has to be renewed. Every year my doctor has to sit down and go through these papers. Every year we have to send in the accommodations, right? Sometimes we take one off, sometimes we put another one on. Because at the evaluation we have to decide. Every year we have to go through this paperwork, but you have to make sure you know that is something that is afforded to you. You know?
I dig it. And these different illnesses, them start manifesting themselves at a young age. Sometimes it doesn't get to a certain place until older. But I want you to speak to two different people, and we're going to do it individually. I want you to speak to the person that is going through this in their early phases, early stages of, and it doesn't necessarily have to be migraine, but any illness that is painful and that is possibly going to be with you for life. Talk to that person that's gone through that.
What I would say to you is this, right? What I would say to you is this: is do not feel sorry for yourself. Okay? Don't feel sorry for yourself and don't be so hard on yourself. You never asked for illnesses. We never asked for illnesses. It's part of our journey, right? And I would also say to you, take some time to understand that you're going to have to find ways to walk with this. Don't fight yourself too much. Don't beat yourself up. Take your time
Right.
and find a way to walk with it and be patient with yourself. And when you cannot, you just cannot. Don't push yourself and don't feel guilty about not being able to push yourself, and educate yourself about your illness. Educate yourself about the resources that are out there for you. Educate yourself about the accommodations you can receive. And don't take don't just take the doctor's word for it. Ask questions. Please ask questions, right? And I know, sometimes we have to try different medication. Be open to them, but you also have to give the medication time to work. 6 months might not be enough to get a medication to work. It might need 8 months or a year, right? But please be patient with yourself. Give yourself some grace. Please give yourself some grace. That's what I would say to that person.
And in the same breath, now let's speak to the parent off, because a lot of times,
The who?
and that the parents off, or the
Yeah.
parents, spouse,
Spouses.
the
Yeah.
overall support system, because oftentimes, if they don't have that strong support system, then they already feel like they can't fight these battles, wage these wars on whatever it is. Talk to now
Yeah.
again, parents, spouses, the atypical, the village, if you will.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say this, and I had of migraine and love, and lost love because the people say I didn't sign up for this, or this is not what I signed up for. I don't want to be a caretaker. But when you love someone, you're supposed to love them nonetheless and regardless. You gotta love them, yeah, and just be honest with your village, and allow your village to do. Don't think in your village don't want to do. Allow your village to do. Okay. But at the same time too, as spouses, as parents, as part of the village, listen and observe, because persons who are going through this illness may feel they are being a burden, right? So you need to listen, you have to observe, and you have to reassure. And I'm not going to tell the journey is going to be easy. It is going to be hard, because I've been in the caretaker role too. It's going to be hard, right? It's going to be hard. And in those hard moments, sometimes love is the only thing that carry you through, love and laughter. But we all need villages. We all need villages. I remember, life, it was Richard Spicer said life is a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're coming on in circle. You just, we don't know when it's going to be your day. We hope it's not, but we don't know it's going to be your day. But don't give up on them, and don't let them ever feel that they're a burden. Don't let them ever feel that way. And fight for them. Fight for them and fight with them.
Yeah. Sometimes you're gonna have more fight in you than they have in them, and they
Yes.
need you. They need
Yeah.
you. John Ostar, as I'm looking at this right now, and again, ladies and gentlemen, the book is called How I Became a Cowgirl: One Woman's Journey with Rare Migraine Disease. But it's not just from author Syndia A. Payne. So I got the thing, you know what I mean? It's from award-winning author. You got to put the award-winning on it, you know what I mean? Tala winner, the African Literate Awards for Literary Excellence. All right.
Yes.
And of course, she just won the award Best Autobiography or Memoir. All right. Personal struggle and recovery. I'm telling her, say, y'all need to go get the book. What do people them can get the book?
Amazon. It's on Amazon. It's also on you can get it through Amazon. You can get it through Tala has it on it too, the website on it. And you can also, but Amazon is the easiest place, and Syndia Payne, SyndiaPayneWrites.com. But Amazon is the easiest place. And listen, if you have Kindle, just go read it now. because we're not paid for the Kindle one. I have
Judge.
just go read it now. If you have
No,
Kindle,
no.
just go and read it
Hold
now.
on. So they go up on
The
Kindle.
paperback might be a bit off for now because we just changed the cover, but the Kindle is there, so just go read it. You know, you're not
So hold
paying
up.
anything to read it.
They not paying anything to read the Kindle, but you make sure I said the revenue will come, right?
Huh?
The revenue will come to you, though, right? The revenue comes in, right?
Yeah. It tells you the amount of pages, etc. Remember the Gregory letter I said last? I'm sure I told you. I am at some. You write, I don't write for awards, I write because it's my gift and I have to write, right? The awards keep coming
Syndia,
in. You see what
it's
I'm
an
saying
award-winning gift.
Right?
It's an award-winning gift, okay?
Yes, an award-winning gift, and the award for me is never monetary. The award for me is always that it's always something else, but. The Kindle, whatever you do, the Kindle, yes, my brother, yes, my award-winning author sister. Hey, yeah, yes, man. But read it, and if you want to buy a copy, by all means, because some people like their paper copies, right?
Right.
By all means, order your paper copy, But it's there because every time you read, we get page numbers. The page numbers are what I important. And it push it up. It pushes it up. Yeah. But I mean, but Amazon, Amazon has everything. So go ahead and get your copy, read it. Yes, man, a true man. The money have to run.
Oh, you mean? That's what I'm talking about. The money have to run. These things cost money to do,
Only Andrew and the money have to run. Yes.
Yeah.
But the more people read it, the more people will buy it. The more and I believe that we all have our blessings. And I think it's a blessing. The blessings now because the more people talk about it, the more people want to talk to me. And the more people talk to me, the more advocacy is there. And the more advocacy is there, the more people want. The more people want to. That's like you said. It's not just about migraine. It's about any journey, illness, any chronic illness journey that you're going through. So get your copy, and thank you again. Thank you for your support. Let me just say that. Thank you for your support.
Listen, it's a mission. And again, I kind of look at it like the book itself may have been inspired or the muse might have been a migraine, but the underlying story, the testimony and everything points to recovery, strength, resilience, all the things that we need. So what you're going to get from this book, in my opinion, will help you to endure a whole lot more. All right. It's not the medication that's made to just, fix one thing. It's vitamins, man. It's going to help you with everything. You know what I mean? It's going to help your skin. It's going to help your hair. It's going to do all of them things there. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. Yeah. It's a mindset, Gregory.
And we needed to keep writing because, we need good literature, informative literature, and easy to read literature. All right. Now, the views of G. Cole does not represent those of Syndia. It's just my views. Some book come out and I can't read. I'm not telling that. Some book come out and I can't read the thing. You know what I mean? Page 2 and 3. I'm in the bad. But I love it. I love it.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that you can connect with it because that's what I want you to do, to connect with it. To connect with it. Yeah.
Now, drop all the information that the masses need to know from social media. I know you mentioned a website, from social media, the website, to Amazon. Drop LinkedIn, everybody. Drop all the information the masses need.
So you should tell me that before. How do I go find all this information? Look here. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search my name. You just search my name, Syndia A. Payne. Everything will come up that you need to know. Just do that. But just search my name and everything will come up. Facebook. I'm old, so I only know about Facebook. I might have tried Instagram, but it wasn't working out for me. But I think
I'm an OG.
Facebook and LinkedIn especially. Yeah, man, you can get me there and just you'd be surprised when you search my name what comes up. But and if you ever want to read any of my other books, of course, I had some before this. You're always welcome to do that. Yeah.
I love it.
And I must tell you, it took I think this is my 9th or so publication to be award winning, but I never gave up. I never gave up.
You're there. And
Yes,
again, there's
ma'am.
levels to it. So there's something else bigger around the corner to so keep writing, keep doing what you
I
do.
like how you talk, my brother. I like how you talk.
Ja.
You know, when I get big and come back, you know, I got to come back and the roots right here.
Oh, you mean?
Like
Oh, you
Gregory.
mean? Oh, you
I am
mean? We're
back.
going to do it right here.
I am back,
And
Gregory.
let's tell the masses, because here's the thing. I'm a nostalgic person. So there's a couple of years, like from probably age 20 something years old. There are a couple of people who meant a lot to me when I was coming up in primary school and whatnot. And I'd search for them. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna find them on High Five. Remember High Five? I'm gonna find them on MySpace. I'm gonna find them on Facebook. And I struggled, but the reason why I couldn't find your information because I was spelling it wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's Syndia. So make sure you put in Syndia.
Yes.
My friend.
With C and I and everything, but it's Syndia. Yes.
And I did everything wrong. I did everything wrong. So
Yeah.
I think the way how I ended up finding it was I had gone to, I don't remember where I went to. It might have been Google, or I don't remember where. And and it gave me a bag of things that I'm going down. You know, sometimes Google will give you type in one spelling and they give you what the alternatives might be.
Yeah.
And so forth. So
Yeah.
Syndia, make sure so you put it in properly and the information shall come up.
Yes.
Thank you so much, man, for your time, your efforts, the book, the whole nine.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
This was a beautiful conversation. I mean, we could go on forever, but you know, because you know, I enjoy talking to you. You know, but thank you so much for having me on tonight. Thank you for all of those who have been commenting. Thank you for the support from the family. But thank you so much, Gregory. Thank you for this outlet. Thank you. And like I said to your brother, I'm very proud of what you have been doing with your talent and the way you have been using your platform. But thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. It was a beautiful conversation.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
You're right. I was just talking, you know, we're just having a conversation.
Every 2017. So every 10 years, we just every 9 years we just can't do that, all right? We gotta do it more often. We can't do that. So I gotta come more often. And I gotta make myself feel better sometimes. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you buy your book, it'll look a little different like this. It's gonna have the award on it. I don't like Jamaican people love to talk about Batman. It's not Batman, but Batman, you know. It's a little slightly envious. But the thing is, I'll spin it into saying you ain't got the original. You know what I mean? So,
yes. You actually got the original, like you said. You got the original, but no, everybody else will get the Tala award, the award winner on it, you know. Yes, and you know that's like you said, that's one come on. As soon as I get another one to put on it, I have to redo the cover.
John,
all of them can hold the book. Yes.
But you know what? That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
That's a great problem to have.
Yeah, and thank you so much for, you know, you're one of those persons, you know, who could always call on during the years. Everything I have, you know, if I wrote something, you're always interested in it. And I'm grateful for that. You know, like I said, we know from way back when, you know.
Way back.
We have way back when. Yes. Thank you, Donovan. I think it was a great conversation. Thank you, Rose. Yeah. So this is what happened when two old friends meet, you know. We talk like we don't understand. We talk like we don't understand. It's almost two old friends meet.
And you're lucky it's not in person, guy. Would have been worse. Y'all been here till 11 o'clock. I'm sorry. So, but one of these days, I'm gonna pack these cameras up. I'm gonna come up there and we're gonna fire it up and have a nice reason.
Yes, man. We have a nice conversation, you know. But thank God for the medium that we have that we can share, share it, you know. Yeah. Absolutely. And I see all your albums behind you. Congratulations on all of those, man.
Oh, thank you so much. The next one comes out in August. So that one is coming out. So
that's what we're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. You know, I really enjoyed this, and you know, being it like I told somebody, it's kind of difficult to always be on this side because I'm always on that side where I'm doing the interviewing.
Yep.
Now I'm sitting on the other side being interviewed.
It's a struggle for me too, you know. Anytime I end up on that side of the I'm like, it feels a little weird.
I've always been on your side, but no, I'm on this side. But it feels good to be on this side. It really it feels good to be on this side. So thank you, brother, for sharing
Pleasure.
in my successes. I really appreciate it. It's not everybody can say they have a friend from primary school.
John knows that.
And for
John
those
knows.
persons, yeah, Americans, we're talking about primary school. We're talking about elementary school here.
Elementary school.
Elementary school, Miss Garvey, grade 6.
Jano. Those days, boy. Those days.
Yeah, those days were the days, you know.
Kept me in line. And we were the youngest ones in the class, so we had to move on. Everybody. So I think that kept us even longer too, because we were younger, couldn't move on. We have to go look further. Because I'm always the youngest. I'm like,
yeah, yes. I mean, just my auntie put up, say, big up yourself, my award-winning author niece.
See there. Who in an auntie? Auntie Maxine.
Auntie Maxine.
Auntie Maxine, make sure say she autograph the book and send it. Come here, carry it on Kindle as you want.
Yeah, man,
make sure say.
We're gonna do that, man. We're going to get a few copies and autograph them with the award on it and send it down. And send it down so that they can get it, because you know, like I said, the support is ever, and you know, always sharing in those support, you know.
And it's evident. I see him.
Miss Garvey, I think Miss Garvey would have been proud of both of us.
Oh Lord. I tell people all the time, and you have those people who are forever planted in your heart. Miss Garvey's one of those people.
Miss Garvey's one of the man. Yeah. Miss Garvey was a good teacher. Yeah, you know, and she would have been. I think she would have been proud of both of us.
Definitely.
Yeah, Miss Garvey was a good teacher. She was a good teacher. Definitely. She was a good woman too.
Absolutely, quite impactful. Yeah. One of those people you want to make sure say you don't disappoint us. Even when you graduate from primary, I'm all in high school. I'm doing this and that. You just want to make sure say never a bad word goes back to her ears. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yes, man. For real, Carvel Burrell. We have to big up G Cole all the time. And from my end now, we have to big up G Cole. We have to big up G Cole because G Cole are doing thing, and G Cole make sure that those of us who are homegrown,
easy.
Are being exposed.
I'm gonna do that.
Big up G Cole. Big up G Cole for real. Big up G Cole for real. Yes,
Jano. Syndia, thank you so much. We got to get up out of here. I got to big up the good folks over at Jamaicans.com. Thank you all so much for watching. Everybody. We got to roll. Thank you so much, my sis. We are going to link up again. And congrats again.
Man. One love.
On a job well
Blessed.
done. Much love.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, has indeed been a pleasure. Author, advocate, philanthropist, educator, Miss Syndia A. Payne. It's a vibe, man. It's a vibe indeed. I got to get up out of here. Remember to hit me up on social media at my G Cole, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, Homegrown G Cole is available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Radio.com, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're there. Listen to some great music, talk to some great people. It is indeed a vibe. I got to go, man.
You want to say J. Cole, legal businessman.
Easy way anyone that. Jano.
Nakikinika sa música, Homegrown with G. Cole.
Estás escuchando Homegrown con G. Cole.
您现在正在收听的是 Homegrown with G. Cole.
You're listening to Homegrown with G. Cole.
No more. Burn it to the burn. Say no more. No more. It's crazy. Ain't gotta say no more. No more. We love life though. No more. No more. I ain't got to say no more. Streets, it ain't the same no more. Kids can't play no more. And the babies got to stay indoors. I ain't got to say no more. Place, it ain't the same no more. Kids can't play no more.